everybody to the live tonight. I hope that everyone is having a good holiday season if you celebrate. I know there are so many holidays going on right now, but I wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about 2025, but then also talk a little bit about 2026. 2025 was quite a year. And no, it is not over yet, obviously. We still have the month of December, which we will be moving into. But I wanted to have a discussion with the collective and ask people, what did you learn in 2026, 2025 rather? And what do you want to take into 2026 with you? So as we wait for people to file into the room, I'm just going to read from my book on spirit, positive affirmation book. You can find that at nicolebowman.biz. So I'm going to go to affirmation 47. Affirmation 47 says, I'm releasing. Part of healing is moving on and letting go. Learn to release things that no longer work. Learn to say goodbye to what no longer supports you. By releasing the old, you embrace new opportunities. More is coming for you. It's a bright new beginning. And so I'm going to stop there. You know, in order to move forward, in order to change, in order to evolve, I think we need to take stock and we need to take inventory of what is no longer working in our lives. This could be relationships, this could be a way of being, this could be a way of doing, a way of thinking. We have to let go of those old ideas and determine who we are today. And you can always have reverence and respect and appreciation for who you once were, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're the same person. And so, if you feel yourself growing, if you feel yourself evolving, if you feel yourself moving on from things that you used to do, you are right on time. In my book, I talk about reflecting on things. It's a way to meditate, it's a way to take stock. And so when we look at this affirmation of releasing, here's what we say about reflecting. Is there something you have been holding on to for too long? Perhaps it is a relationship that is no longer working, or closure that you've been waiting for that never actually came. Maybe it's time to accept what is and understand that is your new reality. There is certainly a time for hoping and wishing. Positive thinking has a valid place in our lives. But when things are no longer moving, or they are falling away or stagnating, that is a signal from the universe to let go. Is there something stopping you from moving in life? Is there something you're still hoping for? Make the decision to release it today and consider that better things are coming. So, I want to say hello to everybody who is coming into the room. Thank you for the flowers and the hellos. I want to say hello to Raji and Tom. Um, yeah, we will not be doing that. So, we're going to have to move some people out of the room. Yes, we will. Um, yeah, I'm not dealing with the profanity and the negativity and the nonsense. No one has time for that. But I do want to say hello to everybody who's coming into the room. If you are brand new to me, my name is Nicole Bowman. I'm a psychic, medium, and intuitive artist. And tonight, what I want to talk about is releasing and letting go. Because as we move into 2026, we have to consider what we are no longer taking with us, right? It could be a way of thinking, it could be a way of being, it could be a way of doing. Um, but in order to have the life that you want to have, there are certain things that you may have to give up and you may have to give away. So if people can write in the comments, is there something that you made the decision to let go of in 2025 because you've realized that it no longer served you? This could be a relationship, this could be a way of thinking, this could be something connected to your health or your well-being. This could be something that you now have clarity on that you didn't have before. Type that in the comments. You know, I know that the holidays, specifically Thanksgiving, if you celebrate it, everybody doesn't, but if you celebrate it in the United States of America, And whether we're talking about Christmas or Samhain or Dia de Muertos, there's so many holidays that are coming up. Hanukkah, we had just finished Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur some time back. But I say all of this to say that all of the holidays that I mentioned, some of which are joyful, some of which are more somber, can really cause us to reflect on many things. And it can really also highly activate our nervous systems. A lot of the holidays that I mentioned are all about family, they're about togetherness, they're about the community and what the community can do. But I know there are many of us who are loners. There may be some of you who are dealing with deaths and losses in the family. There may be some of you who are looking at empty chairs and empty tables because people that you loved are no longer physically here or physically present. I do want you to know, though, that, our loved ones, the dead, they're always with us, just beyond the veil. And so I think that it is incredibly important to know and understand that the people you love, the people that you care about, they are still here. They're just in a different form. One of the things that I've noticed as a spiritual worker, as a psychic, as a medium, as an intuitive, oh, thank you for that, Quinn. I appreciate you. As an intuitive, is that I have felt the energy of loved ones, not just my loved ones, but the energy of other people's loved ones. In some cases, people that I really don't know very well, more strongly than ever before. And as a medium and as a spiritual worker, part of my work is connecting to the other side and speaking to spirit. But what I've noticed is that the energy, the colors, the sounds, the words, everything is so much more vibrant, right? It's so much stronger now. You can feel it. And I sense a lot of that has to do with the fact that we are in the midst of a huge spiritual awakening. There are those of us who have been doing our spiritual work, there are those who have not. And for the people who have been doing your spiritual work, you may find that things are so much more vivid, right? So much stronger. Spirit often talks about the other side like a curtain, right? Just a thinly veiled curtain that is basically transparent that you can practically see through. But now we're reaching through that curtain. We're parting the ways of that curtain, and we're able to see and communicate with even more clarity and even more candor. And so I think that that is what's different, and that is what has changed. If there is anything that you want to talk about, is there something that you're letting go of in 2025 and leaving it here as you move into 2026? Are there things that you have overcome that you're proud of, that you're happy about? Write that in the comments and talk so we can have a discussion. I think a lot of times people will often talk about loneliness, right? And feeling like they're not a part of community. But part of moving through loneliness is the vulnerability. You have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. You have to share with the collective. It's not always about being an observer, it's also about sharing. One of the things that I did this year, well, there are a number of things, but one of the things that I'm really proud of is my artistic creativity. As a psychic medium and intuitive, I give readings to folk, I write books, music, a number of different things. And this year, I've shared my book, I'm Spirit, with the collective. I've written a song called Free My Voice that will be available very soon. I've also started a podcast called Intuitive Conversations, that is a podcast about intuition and spirituality and growth. I think that it is very important to teach people how to tap into their intuition, to tap into talking to spirit, not just to be in this space or this place of mm, people only coming to us for readings, right? Because each and every one of us is spirit, right? We are a spiritual being having this physical experience on earth, and we're learning what we need to learn, and we're doing what we need to do, and we're growing in the ways that we need to grow. And I definitely feel that part of my work is to teach people how to tap in, to teach people how to connect. One of the things I recommend, especially as we go into 2026, is to get out in nature as much as possible. Get out in nature, walk, see the birds, see the animals, listen to the trees, listen to the music that nature has for you. Turn off your phone at times, put your devices away at times, and get out and relax. That is going to make a huge difference. So I want to thank everybody who's coming in and out of the rooms. If you like this live and you want to see more of it, please like it. Please follow my page, subscribe to my page, and listen to Intuitive Conversations, which is a podcast rather about intuition, spirituality, and growth. So I'm going to read from my book, and as people come in, you're welcome to put some things in the comments. You're welcome to share ideas. You're welcome to do all of that. So, affirmation 48 is I am poetry. Spirit doesn't always speak in a direct way. Spirit speaks in dreams, riddles, and stories. Spirit speaks in music, sounds, and nature. At times, it may be subtle, hidden beneath the bustle of life. We just have to attune our ears to hear the message. In order to hear spirit, we must slow down and look at the greater meaning behind ordinary things. There is a hidden message there if we take time to listen. With that, I want to talk a little bit about dreams. A lot of times people will tell me that they don't necessarily know how to communicate with spirit or that it's a bit confusing for them. And what comes through again and again is that spirit does not always speak in a direct way. Spirit speaks a lot of times in dream language, spirit speaks in poetry, right? That affirmation, I am poetry, that really is an ode to spirit and how spirit speaks to us. And interestingly, if we do the numerology on that affirmation, it breaks down to a three. Three is a number of groups and togetherness and coming together, but it's also divine number. It's, spirit. It's the Father, Son, Holy Ghost, or the Father, Son, Divine Mother. However, you would like to look at that, or however you see or experience that. But it's a Trinity, meaning that the three of us work together, meaning that you are supported, meaning that even if you feel alone, even if you feel there's no one around, in the midst of this, there's a divine energy, there's a creator, there are your ancestors, there are your loved ones in spirit, there are people there, there are souls there wanting to support you. Sometimes we'll get symbols in dreams, sometimes we'll get warnings. If you're ever in a dream and somebody is trying to feed you or give you a gift or give you something, and in the dream you don't feel right about that, you know, you can refuse it. That's often a sign, unfortunately, of magical workings and things along those lines. So you can certainly refuse certain things. You can refuse it in a dream state, you can refuse it in a physical state. One of the strongest affirmations right now is to kind of say that I walk in my destiny. I walk in the highest expression of my soul. As I move into 2026, with each passing day, I'm stronger, I'm healthier, I'm beautiful, I'm more vibrant, and I walk in the highest vibration of my soul. Walk in your highest vibration. I feel that I'm tapping into somebody who will probably either come into the room and watch this or maybe watch this at a later date. But what Spirit is showing me is they're giving me an image of a person walking away. They're walking along a dirt road path. And what's interesting about the dirt is that this dirt is gold. It's golden. It's not sand, it's like gold. And they're walking along this path. They're walking along this golden path. But what Spirit is also showing is that in order to get to where you're going, there are things that you're going to have to leave behind. Sometimes we have to let go of dreams that we once had because they're bearing no fruit. I read for a lot of folk that, will look at relationships or jobs or even in education or something that they did many years ago, and they will be holding on to that as if that is the only way that they could have had success. And one of the things that I want you to know is success comes in many different ways and shapes and forms. And sometimes you may have a moment in life where you have a moment and you have an experience and there's great things that happen. And then that moment is over and you begin anew. Just as, we grow to be young adults and then parents and then grandparents and then elders in the community, it's important to accept that updating, that evolution, that change. So when we look at this affirmation of I am poetry, we see write it out. And so this is something that you can maybe write about or consider. Spirit often speaks in dream language, which is poetry. They teach us through metaphors and parables, not always in a literal way. Take some time this week to record a dream upon waking. You don't have to remember everything, it may come to you in bits and pieces. Write those bits and pieces down and reflect on the contents of the dream in your waking moments. Do you dream of animals or long lost family members? Do you dream of past partners or friends? All of these things are symbols that need to be interpreted. Quietly ask yourself what each symbol means. Wait for the answer and write it down. This is how spirit speaks. So, welcome to the room. My name is Nicole Billman. I'm a psychic medium and intuitive artist. I was just talking about dreams and the power of dreams. And I was talking about how spirit speaks to us in dream language and speaks to us in dream symbols. A lot of people feel or seem to think that they need to remember every single dream, and you don't. Upon waking, just write down what you do remember. And if you write down what you do remember in a journal over time, when you reread that, you're probably going to see some level of a pattern. You know, many years ago, this is like such a long time ago, like maybe 20 years ago or so, I used to have this reoccurring dream that I had never graduated from high school. Like, I would have this reoccurring dream. And I want to say maybe, hmm, it had to be about 20 years ago. About 20 years ago, I took this dream over and over again. And then one day it just stopped. And I would always be in a class. I would be in a math class or a science class or some sort of difficult class. And I think that I was getting ready to graduate and walk across that finish line. And then I get word that I didn't have enough credits or I failed a test or something along these lines. And then I wouldn't be able to graduate. And this thing would just sort of be looming. And what I took that to mean and what I take that to mean is that there was probably something going on with my confidence about feeling that I was ready to take the next step in my life and acclimate to adult life. To me, I interpret that dream as independence. And I interpret that dream as maybe being afraid of being independent and taking the next step. And maybe being afraid in terms of being able to do difficult things. And this is what's important to know. You can do difficult things. You can do difficult things. But you have to understand that as you're doing these difficult things, it's not going to be perfect. A lot of times, the difficult things that we do are going to be challenging. A lot of times, when you're first doing a difficult thing, you may not do it beautifully. You may not do it beautifully for a long time. It may take you a very long time before you get to the level of even being intermediate, let alone being advanced, let alone mastering. So see it as a journey. See it as a journey. I was thinking about many years ago when I was first introduced to yoga, more specifically hatha yoga. And it's interesting because I really wanted to do a very specific discipline of yoga called Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga is kind of like a yoga for life that you can do, right? But for whatever reason, wherever I was at this time, there were no teachers that taught that type of yoga. So I was doing hatha yoga, but I was doing a different method of hatha yoga. And that method served me for a period of time. It served me for a period of time because that particular type of yoga was one that was a lot more physical than it was mental, emotional, or spiritual. But what ultimately ended up happening is while it started out very physical, of course, I graduated to the mental and then eventually the spiritual. And then yoga, which it really is a union, it became a way of life. That breath became a way of life. So wherever you're starting, you're probably not going to stay there. I remember um, when I first started practicing, this was like many years ago, maybe, and it was like maybe a few months into practicing. And sometimes in classes, they would do demonstrations. And I remember there was this teacher who came in, she was subbing for my regular yoga teacher. And to me, it was clear that she was a dancer, like she'd been dancing. Um, and I remember her saying to me, "You have a beautiful practice." And I'd only just started. But even now, when I think back, that means so much to me. because I really feel that she could see something in me. She could see my desire, right? So, affirmation 50, I'm soul. You're eternal. The body may fade away, but the soul, the part of you that is immortal, will remain. You are pure energy. You can never be destroyed. You only change form. Embrace the goodness and resilience of your soul. The eternal part is what matters. And so, important to understand that each and every one of us has a soul, right? And our soul is housed within our body. But our soul is the part of us that is true and that is real. Our soul is the part of us that never dies, it never fades away, right? So, while you're in this body, though, do things that perfect and illuminate and stretch your soul. And I'll also say, um, one of the things that would be so helpful to me, if you like these lives, leave a comment, like it, share it on your social media, on your different social media handles, because that helps the channel to grow and build momentum. If you want to learn how to trust your intuition, if you want to have these spiritual talks, push it up the algorithm and let the algorithm know that you like this, right? Because many of us who do spiritual work, one of the things that has been so challenging for a lot of us, myself included, is that a lot of times um, some of our channels get shadow banned to the point where it almost seems like no matter what we do, very few people know about it. And so I always ask, if you can, to please share the videos, type in the comments, like it. Um, and once again, that doesn't really cost anything in a monetary level, but it is energy. It is energy and it moves. And it is so appreciated. So when we're talking about soul, right, it breaks down to a number five in my affirmations. And five is all about change, right? Five is about change. And I look at it as well as perfecting and growing and evolving and getting to a state of a better you. Yeah. Write it out. Take some time to embrace what you love about yourself. I don't mean your outer appearance, I mean your inner life, your inner world. Do you have a kindness about you or resilience that is unmatched? Does your creativity bring you joy? Do you love others deeply? All of these things are eternal qualities that reflect the beauty of the soul. They can never be taken away and never diminished. What do you love about yourself that is eternal? What do you love about yourself that is intangible? Take a moment to write that out now. Yeah. What do you love about yourself that is not um, physical? So, money or clothes or stuff. Do you like the way your mind works? Do you like how creative you are? Do you like your humor? Do you like the fact that you are just here and you're able to experience this thing called life and see another day? You know, I think it's important to send up some prayers and condolences. You know, in my own world, not somebody that I really knew that well, but I knew this person. In my own world, within my spiritual community, there was someone who unfortunately passed away unexpectedly, and they were a relatively young person. And a lot of people were speculating, you know, about their passing and what could have been done or what could have been prevented. And what I felt very strongly and what their soul said to me was that, you know, they were tired. Their vessel was tired. And even though on the outside looking in, it might not have appeared that way, it was. You know, we don't always know exactly how much time we have in these physical bodies. So it's really important to make a significant impact. And this person absolutely did. They were a helper, they were a teacher, They were a teammate, they were an educator, and they will be missed. And I also want to talk about the two National Guard members who unfortunately had their lives taken, who passed away in the United States of America. This happened within the past 24 hours. Send a lot of prayers to their family members, condolences, healing. Um, so important. It's so important because, as I said at the beginning of this live, there are some people who there are empty chairs this year. I want to thank people who are coming into the room. Gracias y bienvenida. I see Martin is there. Hola. Hola, Martin. ¿Cómo está? Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Billman. I'm a psychic, medium, and intuitive artist. Yo soy una maestra de espiritual y un intuitiva. Mi nombre es Nicole. So nice to meet you all. Um, Gracias por su energía y por su atención. Thank you, everyone. I'm reading from my book, I'm Spirit. And periodically, when people come in, I'll speak in Spanish. Spanish is not my first language, not necessarily fluent in Spanish, but I do practice and speak it as much as I can just to get more proficient. Oh, I see Emilio is here. Emilio says greetings from Mexico. Greetings from Mexico. Gracias. Thank you so much. And actually, I'm in Mexico right now. Estoy en Mexico at this time. I absolutely love Mexico. Me encanta Mexico. I love the energy. I love the climate. I mean, it's very similar to Miami because I live in Miami, so it is quite similar. But para mí, Mexico is una país. I think I said that right. País, country. Una país, un lugar especial. Mm. Me encanta Mexico. I love Mexico. Interesting. I went to a bookstore because I wanted to get some books in Spanish because yo necesito practicar español. Cuando estoy en México, hablo en español todos los días, pero en mi casa hablo inglés. So when I'm at home, I speak English, but when I'm out and about in the streets in different places, I'm speaking Spanish. And so I just went to a bookstore and got a Spanish English dictionary. I still love like physical books, reading physical books over like the audio books or the ebooks. I just love physical books. Oh, gracias, Ramon. Bienvenida. Gracias. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. But yes, the soul, alma, tu alma, porque somos espíritu, ¿verdad? Somos espíritu. We are spirit, right? Yes, we are human beings and we're having this experience as human beings, pero somos espíritu. Somos con Dios y con luz. We're with God, we're with light, right? Oh, Ramón, gracias. Sí, yo necesito practicar. Gracias por sus comentarios. Sí, yo necesito practicar mi pronunciación en español. En español. Y yo necesito aprender una más porque no sé muchas palabras en español y frases. Emilio says the USA and Mexico are sister countries. I think so. I think so. Yo creo que es verdad. Oh, gracias. Buen español. Perfecto. Gracias. I will take it. Me siento muy felicidades por su comentario. Thank you for your comments. That makes me feel very happy that you say my Spanish is pretty good. Yeah, we'll see. Poco a poco. In time, we'll get better, clearer. I will learn more. But um, but yeah, I do think Los Estados Unidos y Mexico, we are sister countries in a lot of ways. I agree with that. And I also feel, para mí, la gente mexicanas, the Mexican people, they just have so much heart. The corazón es grande y fuerte y dura. It's just a really strong heart, really strong heart. And a good carne asada, claro, yes, I need a good carne asada. Porque yesterday, oh, you guys, so nothing against like pizza, but I haven't had pizza in a long time, so I ordered pizza. And let me just say, like after that, I should have like gone and gotten like tacos or something else, or I should have just cooked at home. Because this is why I never like unless I know the place I'm going to, this is why I almost never eat out. Okay. Because for me, a meal at home is like the best. And the pizza was fine, like, but then after that I was like, oh, I don't feel so hot. I don't feel so hot. So I know everybody is going in and out of the room. Thank you guys for popping in and out. And I don't know if Ramon and Emilio are still there, but if you are, guys, gracias por lecciones en español. O, ¿cómo se dice? Lecturas. Lecturas en español. Porque yo necesito practicar. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it because I needed a lecture. I needed a lesson. So, yes, I'm just looking. So, let's read one more. Oh, wow. I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see this, but the last affirmation, I am grace. And these are my positive affirmation cards. I wrote my book, I'm Spirit, when I was in Cyprus many years ago. This was around, I don't know, like 2018. I started writing affirmations on a card because I needed something positive to pour into myself. I was going through some really difficult things in my life at that time, and I just needed things that are positive. And as I'm reading this, I'm looking at these affirmation cards. I'm soul, I'm earth, I'm balance, I'm releasing, I'm heart, I'm shadow. Love it. So, affirmation 51, I'm grace. And interestingly, this affirmation breaks down to a number 6 in numerology, which is the number for family. Family. Grace is not something you earn, it is something you are given. It is a sweet gift that you are born with. In grace lies protection and deep connection to the divine. In grace lies the ability to start over and the strength to forgive yourself and others. Grace can never be taken away. It affords us the ability to learn from our past mistakes and atone for the wrongs we have committed. It allows us patience and forgiveness for ourselves and others. We do not have to stay rooted in the past. We only have to see the message and shift the behavior. Grace allows us to do that. So I'm going to stop here. I want to say hello to everybody who's coming to the room. Hello, Christy. Um, Hello, Emilio y Ramon. Um, Hola a todos. Mi nombre es Nicole. My name is Nicole. Thank you, guys. Have a nice night, Emilio. Hasta luego. Buena noche. Good night. So yeah, but I'm going to stop there because grace is not something that you can earn. It is something that you are given, right? Ramon says, I didn't understand, but I'm here. Okay, well, disculpe. I'm sorry you don't understand. Pero gracias por su energía. Thank you for your energy. Gracias por su tiempo. Thank you for your time. Um, Grace is a gift. We all have ups and downs. We all do and say things we wish we hadn't, right? And sometimes, depending upon what we've done or what we've gone through, We may feel like we don't deserve forgiveness or we don't deserve the ability to start over, but we do. And that's grace. Now, I was asking Spirit, I was asking God today, can anyone be redeemed? And God said, absolutely, if they want to be. If they want to be, anyone can be redeemed. So I will leave it there. I'm wishing you a wonderful week and a wonderful month. And I want to thank all of my friends that have helped me speak a little bit of Spanish tonight, just a little bit, un poquito, pero gracias. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Mil gracias for that. And I also want to thank everyone who will watch this video eventually. I hope that you take the messages that make sense for you. But know and understand that anyone can be redeemed. And if you like these videos, if you enjoy them, please share them, like the live, um, subscribe to the channel Live the Light. My name is Nicole Bowman. I hope if you celebrate Thanksgiving or any of the holidays, or if you don't, if you observe other things on those days, I hope that you've had a good day. Take care of yourself. Know that you are worthy of love, you're worthy of grace, you are worthy of good things. And no matter what you have done, you can be redeemed. Know and understand that. Ashe.